Hello everybody and welcome to the November 2025 update from Clydebridge Station. In this month's update we're going to be doing work on this part here, and it's the first phase of the rebuild of the Rugby Union ground. That's going to dominate this month's programme. There'll also be a preview of the 2025 Cupar Christmas Model Railway Show, and if there's anything else, that'll be included as well. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon so you can be notified of when new videos appear on this YouTube channel. There's at least one per calendar month. And if you've got any comments, queries or suggestions about what you're about to see or have seen, then please leave them in the comments box below. And don't forget to like, and subscribe to Clydebridge Station on Facebook and Blue Sky. There'll be a reminder of that at the end. So if you're all ready, all aboard and enjoy the programme. Now the Rugby Union ground entrance is going to be similar to the old one, which I'll show you in a moment, but I've wrote down my plan because it's a lot simpler than the House of Fraser store that I built, where I actually had to draw it out. And this is what I would advise anybody who's trying to do a scratch build of their own. Always have a write down of what you think you're going to need and then double check it. Now I have measured this twice and it's 45 centimetres, so it'll come up to about here. And there'll be two support pillars at 15 and 30 centimetres. Very important to mention to you as well that the support pillars will also cover a join in the texture paper. Advertising hoardings will have no black bottom, so if you see the advertising hoardings there, they won't have that on here, and I've actually measured this already up there, and you can see that there. It's going to be about there, so it'll still be visible. That'll be the one for the team sponsor, Wrangler Jeans. And I've decided to make it 12 centimetres high at the front, so it's still going to be quite a size. And we're going for 14 centimetres at the back. But that's what the height is at the front, and obviously sloping roof with slates on. Now, I've drawn out the plan, I've written out my ideas here, but there are of course a couple of things. There's a however. The however is that I've got to put street lights in. So once I've built this, it'll be done in such a way that it'll be taken out, so I could then drill the holes for the street lights, which will be marked. The second however, is that I will try and put a back scene in here at some point in the future. So the ground needs to be taken back out again to allow for that to be done. And that'll be in the same way as I'll do the back scene here when I come to rebuild the side of the bus garage. So lots of little caveats that I've got here. One more thing as well. I've been toying with the idea of putting a brick lining at the bottom, as you see here. Or you can see on the Halfords building there. I've decided not to go ahead with that, and it'll just be a plain structure, because I looked at the main stand at Wraith Rovers Football Club ground in Kirkcaldy before it got modern cladding put on it, and it doesn't have that, so I'm not going to have it. Instead, it's going to be made from 2mm thick SMS modelling card, and all the other texture stuff and lettering, that will be from SMS as well, Scale Model Scenery. And the links to the items that I use will be put in the descriptions below. There's litter bins to obviously go in, as I say, and guardrails as well, pedestrian railings. So there's a lot to actually consider here for putting in. But remember, I'm a Rugby Union fan, and I want to pretend in this world here that Rugby Union is a dominant sport in the area, and that Rugby Union has a superb following, and that the club, Clydebridge Rugby Union Club, gets a great following as well. So that's what the plan is, and that's the plan I'm determined to execute. In the very near future, it may be necessary for me to introduce things like guttering and that onto the ground, but we'll take it as it comes anyway. Might not need to do that. The first thing I'll do is show you the old ground once again, so you get an idea of what I'm going to try and achieve, but only looking a lot better. This is the old low relief rugby union ground, which was put onto a backing paper, sorry, a backing board, and doors that were, all the shutters that were squinting, everything. That's what I'm aiming to improve upon now. This one was 9.5 centimetres tall but had a flat roof. This time it's 12, as I say, at the front, and it'll be 14 at the back in centimetres, and it'll have a sloping roof, and it'll give a lot of strength, and the joints will be done in the back too, so it's not as floppy, as it were. The Wrangler advert, that's actually about this, that area there is the correct size of the whole billboard area, but the advert will be smaller. And also here we've got the Slater menswear one. I'll need to try and source something with that, but this time I'm going to try and spread it out a bit more evenly. So we've got 15 and 30 there, and then there'll be another one just along there that'll go to 45. It's actually going to be a little bit smaller than the original one, but that's not a big issue at all. It'll give me the chance to work things out and where I'm going to put things, such as the Wrangler billboard, as I go along. The first thing I am going to do is to get the lettering done, and this is the laser cut lettering LX037A, and this is the 8mm one, which will be going on the top. This is the 4mm version, which will be going above the roller shutters, and these will be put onto masking tape and then they'll be painted. And so while that is drying, I could be getting on with something else. So my job is to go and cut out the letters to make Clydebridge Rugby Union Club, and then get that put onto masking tape and painted. Notice, by the way, you now get 2 sets of letters in each one. And I only thought you got one, hence why I ordered 2 packs, but it's not a bad thing. When I come to rebuild the side of the bus garage, I could use some of the ones on the other pack as well. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to crack on and get on with them doing the painting. That's both sets of letters now painted. However, when I was looking through the stuff in the model railway shed to get something, I come across a second pack of these letters. Now, that is actually quite unexpected. I suspect I went and ordered those second pack for this here. What I'm going to do therefore is, instead of having weigh in, members weigh in, I'm going to have it as weigh in, officials weigh in, because obviously I need 3 A's, and I can use them from that second pack. So that'll mean me repainting some more letters. However, I must make it very clear that I can't do these little letters until I've got the front doors on. But these are ready to go on. But what's going to happen with these is, these will be cut out one at a time and then placed on the appropriate part. And the choice of glue is good old favourite laser cut kit glue. When you're not using it, when you're constructing something but you've got the glue spare, not using it, jam jar, wet piece of tissue. That stops the tip from blocking up. Once you're finished, give the tip a good rinse out with warm water through a syringe. Not hot, not boiling, warm water. I'll start applying these letters and then we'll have a look at how things are after that. Whilst the lettering is drying, these are the 3 panels, each 15 centimetres long, 12 centimetres high, that will be for the front part of the rugby union ground. I'll have to make another 3 That'll be 15 centimetres long by 14 centimetres high for the back to allow for the slope down. The ground itself, as I say, is one I'm wanting to make sure would be a ground that likes of Bill McLaren and Nigel Starmer-Smith back in the day, two BBC Rugby Union commentators would have been looking forward to visiting. And nowadays, a Rugby Union ground that likes of Nick Mullins, Ali Eakin would have been wanting to visit in the 21st century. So that's why I'm wanting to do it. And I'm looking at this here, and I'm thinking about putting the advert, for the sponsors advert, up in the middle. Here's a door taken off the old one, which would sit there. And what I've decided as well, the middle entrance will be for the members, the club members, because remember, back at the period that my layout is set, Rugby Union was an inverted commas amateur, close inverted commas sport. Professionalism was not supposed to be permitted. And myself and lots of other people from back then are thinking, aye right. But seriously, they would be called members of the club, so they would actually go in the middle entrance. And that'll be reflecting the fact that one entrance will be here, one entrance will be in the middle, the members, another entrance will be at the right hand side. And that's the idea I'm toying with, but I'm equally looking at the possibility of having the three of them in the middle. Who says you can't? But before I get to any of that, I'm going to have to wrap these, each one individually. That's the front now complete. It's a pity that some of the glue has decided to bubble, but I have to live with that. A lot of this will obviously be hidden by other things too. And on this top there's strips. It'll have Clydebridge Rugby Union Club Concord Park on it. So this was really just the first part of it. There's a hell of a long way to go, and the next thing is to go and do the letters. There we go, so that's the main club letters on. I'd originally going to put Rugby Union here and then just club here, but when I thought about it again, I would overload this area with lots of letters, so I've spread it out. Clydebridge Rugby Union Club with the name of the ground, Concord Park. Why is it called Concord Park? Well, it's a tribute to a rugby union ground in Sydney, Australia called the Concord Oval. The very first Rugby World Cup was held in 1987, mainly in New Zealand but with some games played in Australia. And these included games in Brisbane, at Ballymore and at the Concord Oval in Sydney. And it hosted the epic semi-final between Australia and France. It was a super match, nip and tuck all the way, with Serge Blanco being France's 11th hour saviour when he scored a try deep into injury time that put France into the final. A brilliant match indeed. Hence why it's called Concord Park. And for those you wondering, Bill McLaren was the BBC commentator there and he had the real privilege of seeing a fantastic game. Later on, as I say, we'll be applying the small letters above the entrance doors. Obviously I can't make up the signs to say way in, officials way in, until I've done the entrance doors, and that's what we're going to do next. We're now going to get on to the roller shutter doors. On the old one, I'll just bring it in, you can see they were quite offset at the centre and that, and it just didn't look right. On the new Rugby Union ground, each of the three sets will be approximately in the middle. Now the Lima X-Ray 276 Oscar kit comes with 4 sets of sets of roller shutter doors. I only need 3, so it's actually quite good. At first I was panicking thinking that I'd only ordered a set of 2, but there's 4 in there, so that's good. They'll be painted the same red colour as the previous ones, approximately similar to that on there. But what I'm going to do is add a little touch of black to the doors, just to give them a sort of dullish red appearance. Only a very small drop. You can spray paint, you can spray paint these if you so wish, but I'm just going to go down the traditional brush method. It looks a fairly complex kit, but it's not. I'll open the kit up and I'll just show you how simple this actually is. The top mechanism box is there, and it's assembled from 4 pieces of laser board. And then you apply glue to the area marked in orange, turn it over and glue onto the roller shutter door. Couldn't be simpler. And a wee tip I'll give you, two wee tips. Obviously don't paint the door until it's dry, but secondly, good tip, to avoid it sticking onto paper or cardboard, I would actually say paint it on the plastic that these things come in, the polythene these come in, because if it comes away, you're not catching paper or cardboard with it, and you're also keeping your cutting mat clear. I'll go and build one and let you see what it's like before painting, and then I'll build it again after. I'll show you again after painting. That's the 3 roller shutter doors on, and you can actually see the height now of the structure. I'm going to be making, as I say, new advertising hoardings which will go here and here. That gives you an indication already though of just what this is going to be like. Before we do the advertising hoardings though, I've got to make up the weigh-in officials weigh-in signs, and that's what's going to get put on above the roller shutter doors. I'm going to look and see if I've also got a spare church notices story location. You may remember I used them on the Quadrant Park nightclub or village notice board. Because if I have, I'm going to stick one here. It will give information on subsequent events at Concord Park. Once the lettering's on though, it will start to, it'll be taking even more shape. But I'm just going to put it up like that and let you see it. I'm going to make the signs up above the roller shutters now, and they'll just be in the same shade as that. And there we have the signs on the front. Somehow this actually puts me in mind of when some of the buildings used to get at Butlins. I don't know why, but anyway. One problem I did encounter was that I lost some ends, letter ends, so I had to improvise and use a letter Z turned 90 degrees. There's always something, isn't there? If I find that spare notice board, I'll stick it up here. Next thing though is to get the billboard adverts done, and the billboards to put them in. And as I say, one will be there, and one will be there, and I think I'll have the, I think they'll just look really good there. Anyway, let's get on and check that out now. By using a combination of Microsoft Word and an internet search, I've been able to make this Wrangler jeans advert. There's going to be a second billboard advert made that will also have Wrangler on it, and that'll be explained that you can buy it at the local Slater's menswear store in Clydebridge. Now I'll do that off camera because I haven't actually decided upon a street name yet for where Slater's is. I'll go into the scale model scenery street name sheet that I have and pick a street name, and then I can make the advert up. The format for making that will be the same as for this, using a Google search or internet search, and I've got the Wrangler logo, copied and pasted it onto here, then put the words "This season's sponsor" above and the "Authentic Western Jeans" below. Now it's very important to stress here that you are restricted by the size of the actual SMS billboards for the size of your advert. Luckily, I've still got the Time Tees advert which I had made up for the wall opposite the station, platform 1, and I was able to check that that was 3.5 centimetres, and the height there is just over 3.5 centimetres, and it's just under 3.5 centimetres. It is in fact 3.3, so it's a good fit. The length around that, it doesn't matter at all because it's going to be white anyway. So that was how I made the advert up. That'll get printed off onto paper, and then I'll be able to make the SMS billboards up. The one that'll have Slater's on it will be a similar design, but it'll have the address where Slater's is. Now the other thing that must be pointed out is that the Wrangler logo is actually the correct one for use during the period that my layout is set in, and in fact Wrangler still use this logo yet. It was actually used for the Argentina versus Scotland Rugby Union Test Series in 1992, which Wrangler actually sponsored. So it is a good fit on a Rugby Union ground, and shameless plug for my good friends at Wrangler here, their jeans are a good fit as well. So I'll get printed off, and then we'll go down and get the billboards made up and add these onto the SMS billboards, and they can then be added onto the frontage of the low relief Rugby Union ground. This is the billboards that we're going to be using here. You're familiar with them as I've already got them on the wall opposite platform 1, Kilo X-ray 019 Oscar Oscar. They do come with their own selection of adverts, although as you know I've made my own adverts up. I measured the actual adverts off camera, and just to give you an idea of the dimensions, the actual sheets themselves are 4 centimetres by 8 centimetres, and the adverts I've got here, we've got 4 centimetres and they're actually just 6 centimetres, so I've actually got enough room to play with, so I could actually have the adverts with large white area beyond it. Doesn't matter. Importantly, it tells people who sponsors the team and where they can buy the sponsors' products. But I will cut them to the 4 centimetres by 8 centimetres distance. Kit comes with 2 and I need 2, so I won't bother showing you again how these get built. That's all getting done off camera. You've seen that before in the previous video. What I will say is that I'll do one, and then once it's ready I'll stick it on. And the other thing I will say as well is that I will be putting the advertising agency signs on as well. So I'll go and do this now, and then we'll let you see the finished result when both are on. That's the billboard adverts up now. I've also put a burglar alarm cover in the middle there, and the billboard adverts, we've got the sponsors one here and where you can buy the sponsors product here. Now a little tip I'll give you, on the instructions it says to cut out the frame wrap and then glue the frame onto it and then score it for wrapping. My tip is to do what I done, and that was to actually cut out the centre bit of the wrap on the sheet, which contains the pillar support wraps, then score it whilst it's still on the sheet and then cut it out. The reason for doing that is your score lines will tell you exactly where to put the frame. So it's a little tip I'll give you. I test fitted this onto the layout and it's really big, which is exactly what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be quite dramatic so you could see it. The next step is to go and make a floor for it. I wasn't originally going to install a floor, but I've decided that I will now put a floor on as a base for it, and we'll get the rest of the structure built up. Then we'll finish off this with the roof. These are going to be the external and internal supports for the rugby union ground. Now the majority of the ground, I'll just show you this on here, so I'll give you an indication. The back panels will have to be 36.5 centimetres in total, up to the point where the ground meets the door frame of the shed. And there's going to be another bit that I'll have to do for a back panel here. We'll have two outer supports and numerous inside supports. These will be to support the wall, the back panels, and also to support the front panels, keep them joined together, but they won't be able to get put in next to the actual supports to join the front and back together. It does sound a bit complex, but it'll be easier to understand once it comes on. I'm also going to strengthen it further, add some triangular pieces which will sit on either side of these in order against the back panel, and where necessary the front panel, to give a much more secure appearance. The outer ones of both types will be clad in brick, and indeed the outer skin of both back panels will be also clad in brick, to give it an idea of a continuation of the brick building. Now, as I say, two of them will be exposed, the others will be inside, and these will not only keep the front and back together, but they'll also support the roof structure as well. I've cut 4 of them now, but I know I'm going to need more of them. We'll get the side walls done now. One of the advantages of this actual scratch build is that some of the materials I'm using are actually offcuts from materials that I've used in other projects, such as the retaining walls around the sides of the layout. And I'm going to be using these offcuts to do the two outer walls. One thing I will tell you right now, and I think it's quite obvious if I put the camera in, is that there are two different shades there. This is the light brown brick stretcher bond. There's not a lot you can really do about that. It's like buying wallpaper. You buy wallpaper in batches, and scale model scenery do admit they try and be as consistent as they can, but it just can't be helped sometimes. But we'll get 2 done, and then they'll get stuck onto the frontage, and then we'll actually get the floor done to be able to stick them onto. It's a bit of a complex project, I know, but as I say, in a few minutes you'll see these ready for application. I've put the floor on, or the base rather, and I've stuck one of the wall ends on. Now, an issue that's come up is that it is balancing over a bit, and you can just see that there. It was okay in a specific position on the layout, so what I'm going to do is actually put one of the backs on and then try it again. If you actually look here very carefully, I've put a joining piece on. I wish I would just hold in there, and then I'll put another joining piece on this part to match with the first of the back sections. It's an attempt, as I say. It's not easy, but if I can, I'll try it again with the back section on, and that might just balance things. Oh, there we go, balance things out. I'll get back to you on that. This is it in position, although it's still not yet completed, and there's a couple of things that still need to be done. The most obvious is a roof, but you can see what I've done here. The back panels I've got up to here, and they're joined at the back, and they're also joined by the other supporting braces. I've got 2 left. I've got one here, and I've got to put another one in here. This section here with the roof is going to be about 4.5 centimetres long, and that will give me the flexibility for getting it in and out. I've got a floor piece to put on here. Turn the camera around so you can just see, and another bracing part there. I've got triangle braces to put in, and that's even before getting onto the roof. But if I bring the camera back here, let's just put it there. Just put it there. I don't know how well it picks up, but you can see how big a structure it is, and it really looks over the scene. That's what I was after, in all honesty. That is what I was actually after, right in the first place. There's another view of it there. But Concord Park is nearly complete, and the reason for the floor bit was because it sort of disguises the wee bit of hump that I've got here, but it also helps support the actual frontage as well. So it's still a bit to go, but it's not too much. And a retrofit I'm thinking about in the future would actually be a drain pipe coming down here and maybe down here from scale model scenery. But that's well into the future. I'm not too fussed about that now. What I am fussed about is getting that bit done and getting the roof on, and then we'll have a complete structure for you to have a look at. To make the roof up, I've cut 2 pieces of 1mm grey board or modelling card, and the reason for making 2 of them is that it's obviously going to have to go along quite a bit, but there's not enough to actually go the whole way, so that's what I've had to do. So I will be joining the 2 pieces underneath. Now I'm having a look at these first pieces, and I'm not quite happy with how the actual height of them, but the thing is, once I get the roof on, the roof slates on, then it'll be a different story. And this is what we're using here, the Tango X-Ray 301 Oscar concrete pan tiles. I bought these actually for a job on the street scene earlier in the year when I rebuilt Radio Rentals, so it's not an additional purchase I've had to make of something that I've already got. I've used existing resources. I've also got to make a small bit for here, and I've got another support strut that will go in there. This won't be done until after I've got this first bit on and then put it back onto the layout. And as I say, I'll join the 2 pieces using a scrap piece of modelling card as well. The total distance that I'm looking for, as I say, is 36.5 centimetres, and that's for this whole roof section. And there we have it. Concord Park is finished. This was the actual troublesome area here. Originally I'd made the roof section here and the back section a little bit too long, so I had to cut them and adjust them to be able to get them to fit. But that's all now in place. It's a hell of a lot better than the one that was on here previously. Proper billboards, a burglar alarm, and if you don't know if you can just see there, I'll just zoom the camera in. Station Road. Now the next task with regards to Concord Park and the Rugby Union Ground will actually involve me taking this off, because I've got to drill the holes to take the street lights. I've got the places marked out, and where they're going to go is actually in front of these pillars here. It just seems to make sense to put them there rather than in sections there. So that's what the next task is going to be. In addition to that, there'll be all sorts of other paraphernalia to go in. Pedestrian railings and maybe a couple of litter bins, but you won't see that getting done until the December update. Later on in the programme, we'll show you the finished article with the streetlights in, and we'll also have a small running session as well, giving you a view of the ground itself. And as I say, I think the likes of Nick Mullins, Miles Harrison, Sarah Orchid, and before them, the likes of Paul McLaren, Nigel Starmer-Smith, and Bob Simmons, I think they would have been quite happy coming to commentate at this ground. Let's just give you a quick view though of how it looks. From there it is with the station here, it towers over quite a bit. But it's a hell of a lot better than the one that was there previously. Anyway, that's all for later on. Next month it's Cupar's Christmas Model Railway Show. Here's a preview of it. Cupar's Christmas Model Railway Show of 2025 takes place once again at the Corn Exchange on St Catherine's Street in Cupar. The show takes place on the one day, Saturday the 13th of December, and this year the show has got at least 11 working layouts. There will be a few more as well that the club is yet to reveal. For those of you who are interested in driving to the event, the postcode to put into your sat-nav is Kilo Yankee 154 Bravo Tango. The 11 layouts that are so far confirmed are Williamson River, Burns Road TMD, Southfield, Carlisle High Wapping Sidings, Micro Cement, Dudley Road, Dumbarton TMD, Cruvy Yard, Shelf and Holbox Flat. 5 traders confirmed are Billy Thompson Models, Leaving Valley Trains, Scooney Hobbies, Scheduling Hobbies, Vision Design. And there's exhibits and demos going to be supplied by the Union of South Africa Support Crew, MERG Tayside and the Kingdom of Fife Model Railway Club. The event costs £3 for adults. Accompanied children get in for free. And it will be expected to be on the first floor of the Corn Exchange. This is a much smaller event than the Summer Model Railway Show at Cupar. Organised once again by the Cupar and District Model Railway Club, this is the last event on the Model Railway calendar in Fife in 2025. I will be there, and if you happen to see me there, please come over and say hello. It'll be an honour and privilege to meet you. And my video from the show will be up on the Clydebridge Station YouTube channel that evening. I'll be attending the show therefore on behalf of people who are unable to attend. We'll finish off this month's update with the usual shout outs. We'll start off with some other layouts you'll find on YouTube, and the first one is Station Road Model Railway, which is a layout that's set in the British Rail era and late 1950s to the early 1970s, and it's double O gauge, and it's an end-to-end branch line running DCC locomotives with up and down lines as well. It's a T-shaped layout, and you'll find him on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook, Station Road Model Railway. And he actually is actually, although set in the BR era, is actually based, I believe, in New Zealand. If he's watching this, I'm sure he'll actually correct me on that, but I believe he's actually set in New Zealand. So that's your first shout out for the month. The next shout out I've got for you is a channel that joined in YouTube in 2024, and is called Welsh Frogs in Space, and that's spelt with 5 S's and then pace. He does a lot of short videos, is a train enthusiast, and like me he has autism, and his favourite locomotives are the GWR 57XX steam locomotives. Welsh Frog number 9 is actually his channel handle, but he trades as Welsh Frogs in Space. So if you could give him a shout out, please, that would be absolutely lovely. And the third and final shout out that I'm going to give to you this month, and again I'm trying to keep in the sort of theme of layouts and eras I don't actually deal with, is John PW22, and his channel is primarily about model railway DCC automation using software such as JMRI and railroad automation. John PW22 is stresses on his channel that he does not model for toys. His layout is actually set in the BR steam era, although he has a couple more modern locomotives as well. So if you could give him a shout out, a check out please as well, I'm sure he would appreciate that. Away from model railways and away from railways at all, quick shout out to my good friends at Wrangler. Clydebridge is a proud partner of Wrangler, who are also the sponsors of Clydebridge Rugby Union Club, and also where you can buy their product from, Slater Menswear as well. So if you check those two out, Wrangler.com to go to the appropriate Wrangler website in your territory, Slater Menswear if you put that into your internet search engine, and if you go into Twitter and look for Nick Mullins, he's a rugby union commentator, and I'm sure that if that had been a real ground, Nick, along with Ali Eakin and Ugo Monye, and perhaps those before him, and I'm referring to the likes of Nigel Starmer-Smith, Bill McLaren, David Parry-Jones, Cliff Morgan, I think they would have loved to have commentated at that ground as well, Concord Park. Next month's update, which of course will be the last of 2025, is really going to be concentrating on doing a few little things on the layout. These little things will comprise, but not restricted to, making litter bins, making benches, making storage areas for WH Smith, and also making pedestrian railings. So it's just going to be little things that we're going to be dealing with. Now it might not be all those things that I'm going to do, but I'm going to try and get a few things done next month. Just small little things, because with the dark nights coming, and I won't have a lot of time to get down to the shed and do a hell of a lot of things. Also, whilst I remember as well, do please, if you haven't already done so, do please subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified of when new videos appear on this YouTube channel. There's at least one per calendar month. And again, I look forward not only to your company but also to your comments about what I should do regarding the points into platforms 4, 5 and 6. I know that the scenic material just there is coming up. That's a decision I've already made, but it's for everything else. So please do let me know. The December update will come onto YouTube on Saturday the 20th of December. But before that, if you happen to see me at the Cupar Christmas Model Railway Show, please do come over and say hello. It'll be an honour to meet you, honestly. And remember also that I don't do Patreon, so you don't have to pay to see updates a day before everybody else. You just hit the subscribe button, please. That's good enough for me. So that's it for this month's update. I'll leave you with the view of Concord Park, the home of Clydebridge Rugby Union Club. And I look forward to your company next time. In the meantime, whatever you're doing, do please take care of yourselves, won't you, and enjoy your lesson. We'll see you soon. Cheerio.